Okay, hope everybody can see my screen. It says 50 Shades of Social. Elena, jump in if you can't. But first of all, I have to apologize because I take this metaphor way too far. But I call it 50 Shades of Social because there are so many layers to social media. And what we're going to do over the next hour is really look at how you're supposed to be creating relationships, how it's a courtship rather than kind of a pure selling machine. And what I aim to do is to make sure you understand how to ensure your social media attracts the right audience and leaves your followers wanting more. And this is about really understanding how to attract the right audience, create the right community. It's not about the number of followers. It's about creating a relevant, highly engaged audience, because that is how you're going to grow. The numbers don't actually matter. Social media use is growing exponentially. Over 75% of the world's population, age 13 and over, are using social media. It's about 5.17 billion people across the world. Most people are on multiple platforms. Over 1 billion people on LinkedIn, 2 billion on Instagram, 1.5 billion using TikTok, and that's actually growing quite quickly, actually. And I think what's really interesting is that people aren't just using this, they are discovering brands and they're making purchases on social media. Social media has become the new search engine. I think this is a really interesting fact that 69% of online shoppers who use Meta platforms weekly made purchases after seeing personalized content on Facebook and Instagram. This is a shopping platform. 44% of people prefer to learn about new products through video. We're going to talk about video. It's really important you use it, and you'll understand why by the end of it. But it's really the superhero of social media. Bad news is, I'm afraid reach and engagement has dropped across all social media platforms. And that is because of what you've seen on the earlier slide. Social media platforms are becoming really oversaturated, really cluttered. It's harder to be visible. It's harder to be seen, but not impossible if you know how to use the platforms. And that really starts with understanding the algorithm. But also people are viewing social media on their mobile phones. They are on a bus or a train or making dinner and the kids are interrupting them. They're multitasking, looking at it from a small screen, and there's so much content out there. You've got 3 seconds or less to get someone to stop scrolling and look at your post. So that visual, that first line, that hook has got to really be strong, really be compelling to get them to stop and look at whatever you have posted. Okay, so have a think. When you post on social media, how many of your followers do you think sees it? So that's people who want to follow you. They've gone to your social media pages, they've pushed follow or connect. They want to see your content. Do you think, and go ahead and put it in the chat, if you think, I don't know, the majority, I mean, these are people who follow you. You think 80% see your post on their newsfeed? How about half? I mean, that would be reasonable, right? 50%? 10%? 2%? 1%? Well, I'm afraid to say it's 1 to 2% of your following see your post on Instagram and Facebook. 10 to 15% of your following see your post on LinkedIn. But that is if you have no engagement. So don't let this scare you too much. There is a way around this. This is why engagement is key. So I'll explain how it works. So, the mysteries of the algorithm everybody talks about, and the algorithm kind of works in every, across all the different platforms in the same way. The algorithm is there to make sure the right content goes to the right people. So that if I'm not getting married, I'm not seeing posts about wedding dresses, for instance. It's also putting the onus on the people using it, the businesses using it, to create really engaging, high-value content. Because if we were just getting terrible salesy posts every day, you would jump off that platform. So the algorithm is there really for the longevity of these platforms. But it's down to us to create high-value content. But I'll explain a little bit more about that. So let's say you're selling Diamante dog collars. So you have this cute picture of a dog, you've got a great hook, and you have this beautiful product. And it's like the most amazing Diamante dog collar anyone has ever seen. But you post it, nobody really comments or engages yet. So it only goes out to kind of 1 to 2% on your Instagram feed and Facebook. So, but then someone comments. But first of all, likes are kind of low quality, low weighted actions. You really want people to comment, because that says to the algorithm, wow, this is such a great post. I not only looked at it, but I commented. And then you want to respond, because that shows the algorithm that you are really responsive and you're engaging with your audience, with your community, and you're building those relationships. So then if you have a comment, you reply, then that post will go out to more of your followers. So maybe it'll be 10 or 15%. But then someone else sees it and they tag their best friend, because they're like, oh, we need to have matching dog collars for our pooches. So then that is a really highly weighted action, because someone is actually endorsing your product. They're saying, wow, this is such a highly valuable post that I want to share it to my friends. And it's same thing if people are sharing on a messenger, if they're sharing it on their stories, they're sharing it on their pages. That then shows the algorithm that this is a really highly valuable content post, and they want to get that out there to not only 100% of your followers, but if you have a frenzy of activity and you're responding and people are starting conversations and everybody's, really excited about this product, then the algorithm will actually recommend your post to like-minded people. So if you look at this example, it would be sharing that post to people who might be following dog hashtags or buying dog insurance, because they buy in all of these different types of third-party research. They know, if someone's just bought dog insurance, or maybe they've been shopping at and buying dog food and shopping at dog stores and reading dog blogs and watching dog reels. So then your business and your posts will be pushed out there to those people who are like-minded and who match the profile of the people who are already engaging and also have the similar interests. So that's why the algorithm actually can really push your business out there to new people if you're creating the right connections in the right way. And this is the most important thing of this entire hour. It's really about creating relationships. You've got to change your mindset. It's not about selling. It's a courtship. It's about creating those relationships, starting conversations, providing something valuable, something that people want to keep coming back for. People might already understand what your product or your business or service is. Why should they keep coming back? Why should they follow? You've got to give them some reason to do that. So a lot of it is about understanding what makes you stand out, just like a dating site. What are those kind of three key things that it could be you as a person, your personal brand, or it could be your business. What are those kind of 3 USPs? What are the things that make you stand out from your competitors? Just like in a dating site, like James, 25, funny, handsome, and stupid. He understands it and he calls it how it is. But as a business, you want to be thinking about, are you the most unique, the most innovative? Are you the most trusted? Are you the most experienced? Do you have the highest quality service? Are you the best value or the most affordable or the most flexible? Really kind of hone in on those kind of 3 to 5 key selling points that make you stand out, that make you unique. And then I want you to look at your content over the next 3 months. Are you consistently telling this story? Are you weaving in those points across all of your different content over the next few months? And, no one looks at 100% of your content. They're dipping in and out. They might see a story on Instagram. They might see a post or a video on Facebook. They might see that actually, we have a mutual connection on LinkedIn. They might watch a video on TikTok. They might just be getting, dipping in and out. So you need to make sure that you're telling this in a consistent way so that even if I am only seeing bits, I understand who you are, what makes you stand out, what makes you competitive, so that if I'm recommending you, in 2 or 3 months, then I'm kind of repeating this story, your brand story, in the right way. So that's really down to you to make sure you're incorporating it into your content over a long period of time. And that's why planning is so important. You've got to really be thinking, when you're looking at your personal profile as well, especially like on LinkedIn, you've got to be thinking about your personal brand, and everyone has their own personal brand. And when you're looking at your profile, what's your personal brand saying? What kinds of posts are you sharing? Are you talking about your work, your portfolio? Is it a highlight reel of your skills? Are you building your professional network? Are you enhancing your own professional development? So be thinking as well, we all have our own kind of personal brand, whether that's, you as a business owner, or, even if you're within a bigger corporate, actually your presence on social media will help you get things like promotions. It makes you more valuable if you establish yourself as an expert. So you want to build that personal brand just like you do your business, the brand of your business. So again, it's a courtship. Social media is a courtship. You are trying to, attract the right person. And when they stop and look at your post, that's like them saying yes to the first date. But then what kind of experience is that? What kind of first date are you? It's just like in the dating scenario, are you the date that just goes on and on and on about your house or your car or your last holiday, and never ask that other person any questions? Are you ever going to go on another date with that person again if they don't include you in the conversation? And that's what happens with small businesses and big businesses on social media. They're so excited to talk about their service or their offer or their discount, or, they jump right in. And what happens is everybody just scrolls on past because you're not letting the audience in. You're not asking them questions. You're not giving them a reason to engage or come back on that second date. So the key is understanding your audience's pain point. See, I told you I would take this a little too far, but it is at the end of the day, I want to make sure everybody's awake. It's not this dramatic, but you really need to understand what is your audience's, what are their issues? What's a problem that you can solve? But we need to start with the issue of your audience. So that's the way in. So that's what makes people stop when they're scrolling, because they think, wow, yeah, I relate to that. Yes, I have that issue. Then you can talk about how your business or your service can help them. But the way in is really kind of first appealing and making that emotional connection with that audience right away. And so some of the kind of pain points your audience might have, they might be a busy business owner and I need help to grow my business. Now, they're also people. It might also be, I need help to grow my business so that I can go on holiday, or, I need help with my business so I can spend more time with my family. So, you've got to really understand your audience. I'm a stressed mom, juggling too much, and I really need some help. I'm anxious and need some pamper time. I need an unforgettable special gift experience for a loved one. It's not just about that product or that gift. It's about what it means to that person you're giving it to. Is that something they will cherish forever? Is that something that will make the relationship closer? I need an IT solution that's going to grow my business and give us a competitive edge. It's not just about the IT solution. It's about what that kind of long-term customer benefit is. That might mean that you're not spending your weekend dealing with IT issues so you can hang out with your kids and go to their baseball games. It might be that people just are worried about their future and they need a trusted guide. They need someone to help them with their finances. And then that means they can sleep better at night. So you've got to really think about who your audience is, what are their issues, and then create content that really connects with them on that emotional level. So, if you're looking at kind of the ideal post structure, and this is true, I think, for static posts where you just have one image or a video or carousel posts, but you really want that first line to be from your audience's point of view, that pain point. Then you can talk about your service and your product and how you can help them, relieve the anxiety or, grow your business. Then you want something that gets people engaging. You got to give them a reason. So ask questions, get them to comment below, make it super easy, for them to get a free guide. Think about your lead magnets. Why should they comment? Do you have a free guide? Do you have a quiz? Do you have, I don't know, a discount, or ask them questions, ask them funny questions, get people to share funny stories, start conversation. We're building relationships. And then don't forget the all important call to action. So, and that could just be, like I said, comment below or message me for more tips, follow me for more tips. It could be book a session now, book a workshop. But think about how you can offer something small, something easy. Maybe that's a power hour. Maybe that's let's see, if you're a VA, that might be, I'll clean up your emails for £100 or something. So something that's kind of small that they can kind of dip in and they can get to know you. That those things work really well. So where is your ideal client and customer? And that is always the question. What platform should I be on? And everybody says, Katie, what should I be on? No, everyone's on TikTok, or I don't know, Pinterest, or, what's the new shiny platform that's just come up. But really, it's all down to your audience. Where are they? What platform are they not only using, but where are they buying? Where are you going to get the most conversion? Because there are lots and lots of platforms out there, and more every day. So you've really got to be thinking about, where are you going to spend the least amount of your time for the most conversion, the most impact? Where are you going to get the sales? So for instance, a lot of clients I work with are in the home industry, and you think, oh, Pinterest, that's where I should be. And so, if you're a local builder or a local interior designer and you spend lots and lots of time and money on Pinterest, but what happens is Pinterest is a scrapbooking platform. So what people do is they go through, they pin all their great ideas, and then they go to their local builder or they go to their local interior designer and say, I want you to do this. I want you to take these ideas and I want you to do it. So you might be better off actually with something like Instagram, because you might get more sales. You might be also creating relationships with your local influencers, your local blogs, so that you're reaching out to those local people. But you really got to understand what platforms your audience are on. What's the intention? What's the demographic? Are they over 40 plus? They might not be using some of the youth platforms. So you've got to really understand who your audience is and where they're buying. And you don't want to spread yourself too thin. There's lots and lots of B2B social media platforms as well. So business to business, LinkedIn is the unsung hero, I think, for B2B marketing. There's a huge amount of global audience. A large majority of them are opinion formers and CEO levels, and there's a great opportunity, and actually a lot of people aren't actively using it, but you've got to use it in the right way. But more than anything, you've got to look at where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So where you're going to spend the least amount of time and get the most conversion. And another quote from 50 Shades of Social, or 50 Shades of Grey, I want your world to begin and end with me. And that is true about your target audience. I want you to know them intimately, because everything stems from your target audience. What platforms you're on, what kind of content you're creating, how you engage, what influencers you engage with. It's all down to who you're trying to reach and who you're trying to engage with. So, and I like to break this into 3 categories. I think you've got your current clients and customers. So people who know you, who love you, who've bought your product. Those are the ones that, you want to hopefully upsell, because they already know you. You've already done that job. So you want to offer them new things. You want to keep them, recommending you, keep buying from you. So you create a loyalty program, for instance. You want to give them a reason to keep following, to keep engaging, and most importantly, push you out there to their networks. Then you've got the all-important new community, new clients, new customers, people you don't know yet. They're much harder to get to, and they're going to be, you're going to use different strategies to get to those people. So for instance, you might do a competition. So you might ask your current client list to tag a friend who might be interested, who might want to win something. So that's using your current network and using their network and getting them to push you out there to new people. Or you might share in relevant Facebook groups, for instance, or LinkedIn groups. But again, it's not about selling. You've really got to go in sharing something of value. And you want your content to be so valuable that people are sharing it on their pages and sharing to their friends. So that helps you get out there. You can also use advertising. And that's, an important tool in the whole marketing mix as well. And that helps you get out there to new audiences as well. And in fact, you can target people who've engaged with your social media pages and website over the past year, but then you can also create a lookalike list that matches the profile of the people who have been engaging, but it's a whole new list. But that's a whole nother workshop. But anyway, there's lots and lots of tools and strategies to get out there to those new audiences. And then you've got your influencers. And this is kind of a really smart strategy to be able to get other people to get you out there to broaden your network. And when I say influencers, I'm not talking about, beauty bloggers with 5 million followers. I'm talking about who are those key people in your audience's life that's talking to them, that's part of their decision-making process, that's influencing them on a day-to-day basis. So for instance, if I'm a builder, so I want to make sure that I'm creating relationships with those all-important influencers like interior designers or the estate agent. Because if I am buying a house and I walk in and the builders or the estate agent says, oh yeah, this is a great house, but you might want to bump it out or extend it, and I know a great builder, they're a really important person because I've created a relationship with them. I trust them, so I trust their recommendations. That's going to be much more valuable than possibly posting 10 times a day. You really want those key people singing your praises, pushing their relationships out to you, and recommending you. So you've got to just be thinking about, that could be the Pilates teacher who is, offering recommendations every week to your audience. That could be the school. If your audience is our parents, then actually school, is a great way to reach them. But really, first, it's about understanding who your target audience is. So what platforms they're on, what blogs they're reading, what email newsletters, online magazines they're reading, what networking groups are they part of, what groups are they part of, and what are their interests, what are their hobbies. So this is really looking forensically at their activity, online and offline, and then understanding how you can collaborate with some of those influencers in those different groups, those different areas, or those bloggers. And this is really about making sure you're working smarter, not harder, because this day and age, like I said, it's really hard to get engagement. The landscape is really cluttered. So you've got to kind of be a bit smarter. It's not good enough just to post 55 times a day. So really, you need to identify who are these influencers, and start small. Think about who are kind of my top 5 to 10 influencers, and then start to engage with them on social media. Comment on their posts, start to kind of create a relationship. Don't just jump in. Start to get to know those influencers, and then think about how you might partner with them, how you might collaborate with them. Can you offer something of value to them? So for instance, sometimes people are just looking for content. So one of my clients in the States it's a ground anchor. It's a locking system for bikes and canoes and kayaks and fishing boats, that kind of thing. So our influencers are YouTubers like the Weekend Handyman, or all these guys that demo products. And so we send the product to them, and they do a demo on YouTube, and it's fantastic because it gets it out there. It's a third-party endorsement. They get a free product and they get content for their YouTube pages. Or local blogs are actually really influential because people want to know, what's happening around them locally. So what new shop opened up? What is kind of the nicest cafe that is great to take kids to? What's the best place to throw a birthday party? So people are on there. They trust those people who are local to them. So sometimes just creating collaboration. So that might be offering them a prize or giveaway that the blog can offer to their audience, an exclusive discount, something that kind of you can only offer them. That gives them content because blogs don't have a product, they don't have a service. It gives them something exclusive to offer. So they're really keen to kind of collaborate with you. And then, ideally, you then say you must be following both pages. You tag a friend. So hopefully that gets you more followers, it gets you more engagement, and they are doing the work. And they're also getting you out there to a much bigger audience. So you can see how actually this is a really smart strategy, and it gets you out there to new people, to a broader audience. But you've got to kind of really think about what you can offer, what's valuable. It might be that it's just your expertise. So you could offer a mentorship, you could offer a half-hour coffee, to a blog, or to a networking group, that kind of thing, a discount. But you could also write an article, and everybody loves those kind of bite-sized transformational pieces. And that's really key. Think about, my top 3 tips, my top 5 tips, the one thing to do now, the one thing not to do. So is there anything that you can kind of package up? Can you do a video or an article for maybe a blog or a newsletter, that kind of thing? My top 10 style guide for autumn, for your house. So thinking about how you can package up some of those things and offer it to people. And it's all about engagement. And I think this is really underestimated in how important this is. Half of it is about having really great, high quality content. Getting something out there that people want to save and want to share, that teaches or inspires, or entertains, makes someone laugh. But also, you need to be making sure that if someone comments, that you're commenting back, and maybe you're commenting back with a question, because that's a way to then get them to comment back. That feels like it's personal. It feels like, oh, I'm getting to know you. We're creating relationships. We're starting this conversation. It's not just, I'm going to put it out there and then I'm going to leave and I'm not going to have any engagement at all. But also, it really helps you be visible. So if you engage with a key influencer or a key blog, you're not only helping that person get out there, and even big celebrities actually don't get that many comments. They get tons of likes, but they don't get that many comments. So it's really important to make sure you're writing something genuine, that, it's not just a quick like or a quick emoji. It's something genuine. Hopefully they then will reply back, but they'll see you, they'll appreciate it. Also, everyone who's looking at that post will also see your comment. So you're visible to not only that person, but you're visible to their whole community. And what you're doing as well is you're making those back-end connections. So the algorithm is also kind of spotting that, oh, you've got this great connection, great interaction with that person. So just a couple tips that I want you to try today, and you will see a big difference. So my advice is comment on at least 3 other influencers before you post, and you will see a 20% boost to your post. So like I was just saying, about 10 minutes before you post, go on at least three different influencers' posts, comment on there. Hopefully they'll comment back. Then when you post, it's more likely the algorithm will put your post on their newsfeed. And because they're human beings as well, they're more likely, because you've just left a really lovely comment on their post, they're more likely to notice your post on their newsfeed and then comment on yours. And that's really how it works. And I always kind of say, it sounds a little cheesy, but it's really about generosity of spirit. It's about us supporting one another, supporting people. Of course, it's obviously we want to grow our business and we want to do sales, but actually it's also really nice just to support people, because a lot of people come into this quite selfishly, and it's just all about selling their product, and that they don't get anywhere. But if you support others, they will reciprocate that, and everyone will grow. But you really want to respond to comments really in the first hour. So the first hour, it's called the golden hour. And on Instagram and Facebook, you've got a little longer. You've got kind of more like 24 hours on LinkedIn. But you really want to try to get comments early within that first hour. And then you want to also respond as soon as you can. So that then is showing the algorithm, wow, okay, we're getting, early comments, early engagement, you're engaging back, you're interacting, and then it will increase your reach by 20%. It will get you out there further. And hashtags are a key part of that. So again, it's all about making sure that we are connecting with the right people. And hashtags come from your audience's point of view. It's not about your business. It's about, what are the interests? What are the things that, looking back at those pain points for your audience, what kind of hashtags are they following? Because that's also how people will find you, through your hashtags, because they will be recommended. Let's say you follow a home hashtag. So the algorithm will recommend businesses that use the home hashtag. So that really helps you connect with the right people. And for instance, with Reels on Instagram, if you use topics work in the same way. So you really want to create all these back-end connections so that you're strategically reaching the right people, relevant people. Video is very important as part of that engagement strategy. So did you know users will retain 95% of a message watched on video as opposed to only 10% read in text? I think that's an amazing stat. But also people are telling us that they want to find new products through video. People enjoy short form video. It's a really great way, actually, of getting a lot of information across in a short period of time. It's easy engagement. It's passive engagement. It's hard to get people to comment or share. It's easy to watch a video. And that is engagement. People are watching it. The algorithm are clocking, oh, this is really... And people are actually one strategy a lot of people use now are really short videos with lots of text. So people are reading the text on Instagram, and the video is looping and looping and looping. And so what that does is it says to the algorithm, people are replaying this over and over and over again. So it must be a highly valuable video. So we must get it out there to lots of people. So if you're on video, and of course TikTok, if you're on Instagram, or of course TikTok, it's really, really important and essential to use video. But actually LinkedIn, if you look, not many people are using video, and you look at the people who are, and they really are getting out there much further. They're getting more reach, they're getting more engagement, and actually people kind of are understanding what their service is about in a much more efficient way if you use video. So it's a great way to stand out. But I don't know, I know I say video and everyone cringes. So like, how many people are Beyonce's out there? Do we have some people who are happy to get out there and do some dance videos and reels and, you all over TikTok? Or how many people are a bit more like this? And you know what? Honestly, most people are somewhere in between, and that's okay. You don't have to be like Beyonce, and you don't have to be, and it's okay if you're like this. What I really want you to do is think about social media as if you're going to a networking meeting, or you're going to a conference or an event, or you're meeting someone for coffee, or you're inviting someone into your shop, or you just want to give them kind of behind the scenes. I just want you to do what you do in real life, but do it through video, and if you don't want to be on it, that's okay. There's lots of different techniques. You can just, point the camera and write something, or, everyone, if you're an artist or creator, or actually it can even be something boring, like how a product is made, or how it's packed up. Or I was working with one person who, does gifts, and she creates these kind of personalized gifts, and she did not want to be on the video. And I said, that's fine. Just do a little time-lapse video of you packaging up all of your gifts and, putting them in a big postal bag, because it showed, one, kind of the love and care and attention, and then also how busy she was, how popular her products were. And it did really, really well. And it was just a sped up video. So time-lapse is just on your phone, and it speeds up the video, and it shows her packing and then putting in the postal bag and then taking it away. And that was a very successful reel. Or if you're an artist, just put your phone on and show how you're the behind the scenes. Everyone's fascinated with that. They want to see, from what your inspiration was, to sketching, to the finished product. Or anything like home renovation, home improvement, painting walls, putting up a house. But it also could just be like setting up an event, or walking through a big event, doing a video. And that works really quite well as walking through a conference, videoing some of the speakers, putting some music behind it. Those are all really effective reels. And what I think What also works is when you do background video and you put like my top 3 tips or my number one thing you should do or number one things you shouldn't do. And that might be with just, it could be a video of you making coffee. It could be a video of you, walking, or your feet, or the beach, or, wherever you are, your dog walk. And that's actually something that works really well. And you don't have to be in it. But people love animals, kids. Sometimes people, if you could give a bit of advice straight to camera, those are really powerful videos. But maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to camera, so maybe get someone to interview you. Get your kid to interview you, or a friend. Sometimes people feel more comfortable. And when I do Reels workshops, I break people up into pairs, and actually people do extraordinary things when they're kind of working with someone else, when someone else is filming them and encouraging them, or asking questions that sometimes is a little bit more within their comfort range. But people really love animals. I mean, try to make it relevant. But my dog Rosie, she's in a lot of my reels and videos. I'll do one of her spinning around that says, are you going around in circles with your social media? Let me help. So things like that, people really love. Just be thinking about what is going to be engaging. Or just writing out questions. I saw a really effective video on LinkedIn, actually. It was someone who was leaving their job. They just had their business card. They kind of crossed out their role, I think, and they wrote X, commercial director, and on to new adventures. And that was a really effective way of communicating that they were leaving their job. And they weren't in it. They weren't talking in it, and it got a ton of engagement. It was just quick 10-second video, but it did really well. But yeah, you've got boomerang as well, which is another technique. If you just won an award, let's say, or you just got a certificate or something, you can even put it in front of your face if you want. And that's just the little 2-second videos that repeat. Like I said, time lapse is really good. Or, turn the camera, like with the handlebars of the bike, you can turn it to show your perspective. So you're walking, what are you looking at? That works really well. There's lots more ideas as well, but it's about like meeting the team is a great video. Are you guys, is your company going and doing kind of an away day, or are you, a group of you from your office, are you going to run a marathon together? So do a little video of you guys, or it could be actually pictures as well. So could you do a series of pictures to music? So sometimes people don't have a lot of video, although my advice is make sure you're videoing as you go, and you may use it, you may not use it, but just keep gathering content, put it in a folder on your phone, because you never know what you might want to dig out later. But people really, like I said, the behind the scenes, like show your workspace. What's your commute like? What's like I said, kind of who are some of these people that you work with? Who are kind of the main figureheads of the business? Give some advice, give some tips on people, what you wish you'd known when you were starting out, your journey, before and after, again, bite-sized transformation. So how can you kind of show that you've transformed a house, a room, an area, a business in some way? Can you show that visually in some way? One thing that's really popular right now, it's trending, is kind of reality versus expectations. So you might see there's something where people say they show a picture. It's usually their kind of glossy professional headshot, and who you think you're emailing, they say, and then they show like the real person who they're really emailing, or that might be, if you work from home, someone on the couch, that kind of thing. So that also is a really great way of getting, allowing people to get to know you, getting to know the real you. And people, as much as we all want to kind of hide behind our logos and our brands and not show up, you're not going to create those relationships if you do that. People, want to see people. They want to see your face, at least, even if it's just a still image. They do want to see you on your social media pages. That's how they get to know you. So AI is an amazing tool. You want to use it in the right way. The more you put into something like ChatGPT, the better your results are going to be. So for instance, you can, what you want to do is do all of this work on your digital strategy. So everything we've been talking about. So who your audience is, what are their pain points, what who are their influencers, what platforms are they on, and then you can feed all of that information into an AI platform, and then you can say, using all of this information, I want you to create 15 social media posts. I want you to use engaging hooks. I want you to have some way to, that we can get engagement, really great call to actions, ideas for hashtags, ideas for visuals. And then you're going to get this extraordinary, I mean, you can ask for 100 different ideas. So you get this extraordinary list of different posts, different ideas for videos, scripts for videos. You can upload things like white papers or put website URLs as well as background. So the more information you give it, the better the content will be. But you need to go through, you can't just cut and paste, because you got to make sure this sounds like you, thinking about your brand story, your brand tone. Does this sound like you? So don't just cut and paste. But it's a really great way if you get stuck with a blank page. It's a really great way of getting some ideas and some content quickly. Also, a lot of people say, oh, should I be doing a blog every week? Well, first of all, you're never going to be able to create a blog every week. I mean, maybe some people, but the majority of people are not going to be able to create a blog every week. And even if you are, your audience is probably not going to want to read a blog every week. So you're far better off maybe doing a blog a month, but then taking that blog that you spend a lot of time, has a lot of thinking, to put that into something like ChatGPT and asking them to take this blog and create 5 different posts from it. And again, those short posts, those are the ones that it's easy for people to read, easy for people to digest. So, make sure you're kind of making it easy with using bullet points, using emojis. So it's quick and easy to get across what that blog is. Even if you actually lead people, one way is you summarize it with bullet points, you do a video, and then you say, if you'd like to read the full blog, go to my website. Apologies. That's a really great way of getting people to your website. So, sorry. So anyway, make sure you are, repurposing your content. So look at your analytics, look at what has worked in the past, what got lots of engagement, what got, lots of people commenting and asking for more information. And then create, if you had a really interesting post, create a reel from that. Or if you had a great reel, create carousel posts. So things like testimonials, they're a great thing to keep getting out there. So you want to keep asking people for testimonials. You want to use that maybe in a graphic, maybe in a reel. You might then put it into the body of your post. But you want to keep reusing those, keep getting those out there, because that really establishes your credibility and establishes you as an expert. And that, these days, there's a lot of scam businesses out there. It promotes trust if they see you've got lots of happy customers, happy clients. So yeah, anyway, AI is a brilliant tool. Definitely use it, but just make sure you're still adding your own touch. It still feels like you. You're not cutting and pasting. So tips for content: start conversations, share knowledge or tips, offer value. Always think, why, if I was the person reading this or watching this, what's in it for me? Because people are selfish. That's really, when they come to your post, it's all about, what am I getting from this? I'm trading in 30 seconds of my life. I'm super busy. What am I getting for those 30 seconds? You want to share your journey. You want people to get to know you and what that, everything. Even if you haven't started your business yet, it's a great thing to do, is bring your audience along with you. So, you could tease them. You could say, I'm trying to decide on a name. Here are a couple options. Does anybody have any other ideas? I'm looking at these logos. I'm looking at this color scheme, branding colors. So, throw it out there to your audience. Let them be part of this process, so that when you do launch that product, you launch that business, they feel like they're part of that journey. And they're going to be much more likely to share your post, to recommend you, and to buy from you. So let people in. join relevant LinkedIn and Facebook groups. It's actually really great audience research as well. You can kind of see, what are people talking about? What are the issues? You can even Google as well what questions people are asking. So you really need to understand your audience and what are their issues, and then create content around that. So in summary, we talked about, in my whirlwind tour of social media, we talked about how the algorithm works, what makes you stand out, really understanding your target audience, which is so important, and who influences them. And most importantly, it's really about engagement. So that is how everything you do is got to be about starting those conversations and starting relationships so that you have happily ever after. I told you I took the metaphor too far, but it really is a courtship, and you really want this to be your kind of the end game. I know that I've given you a lot of information. I'm happy to answer some questions, or I've also got a 6-week social media course coming up at the end of September, and I have a discount for this group of people. It's online. I record all the sessions as well, and you got to book by Friday. I do one-to-ones, power hours, and lots of other types of workshops. So please contact me if I can help you at all. And if anything, I'd really love to connect with everybody. So yeah, I'm on all the different social media platforms. Look for me at Can Combs or Katie Noakes, but I'd love to connect with you all. And I'll stop sharing my screen.
Katie, thank you very much. Thank you. It was really interesting, useful. I bookmarked a lot of things.
Good.
Thank you very much. I can see several questions in the chat and one question from me. So shall we start with answering the questions?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, the first question is from Helen. How important are hashtags in boosting content visibility, and what's the best way to use them?
Okay, hashtags are really important. And look, they're probably more important on platforms like Instagram, but actually you should be using them in all of the different platforms. So LinkedIn and Facebook, you could probably use a few less. So they usually say kind of 2 to 3 hashtags, whereas the ideal number, and everybody has different opinions on this, but I think the ideal number on Instagram is kind of 8 to 10. But it is a really important way of reaching that relevant audience, the right audience. But again, it's got to come from your audience's perspective. So a lot of people, so for instance, my lock client in the States. So I wouldn't do a whole bunch of hashtags about locks or ground anchors or security anchors, because people aren't following those hashtags. But my audience are people who have bikes. So that might be people who are triathlons, or who do triathlons and who are triathletes. So I might do things like cycling for life, triathletes, triathlon struggles. So that kind of thing. So I don't know, if you have a group that is stressed out mums, your hashtag might be like Friday wine time. So really, your hashtags have got to be about kind of the interests, the issues, things that your audience are following. Yeah, does that? But it does help. Again, it's about really, boosting your content visibility. Absolutely, it pushes you out to the right people, and will get you seen by more people.
Great, thank you. And next question. Oh no, from me. What's the best way to test what kind of content resonates with our audience?
That's a great question. I mean, first of all, I think everybody should be using different types of content. So yes, video is a great way to get out there, but your audience might prefer static posts or carousel posts. So I think you should start off with a mix of different type of content, and then really look at your analytics. So, and every platform has insights. They're called insights on some, or analytics on others, but basically look at who's engaging, where are you getting likes, and the platforms will tell you where have you picked up followers. I mean, Instagram now will even say you've gained a new follower from that reel. So that's kind of a new feature as well. So they're trying to give people a lot more information. So the analytics are the best way to kind of look at which content does is performing the best. So it's really great. And a lot of people end up not looking at, they don't look at the content, or they don't look at the analytics. But yeah, and also I would say test out what time is going to be the best for your audience as well. So you do have some information in the analytics that will say your audience is active at this time, but I think it's really good to test it out. So you might try doing posts in the morning or at lunchtime or evening. So if I look at all my different clients, their audiences are active at different times. So I think it's good to test out when's the best time to post as well.
Yeah, just to catch that golden hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So the next question from Erica: how can I get fast organic followers? I'm sharing reels, posts, stories daily, but it's very slow. Want things to move faster. Thank you.
I know, and it is really tough out there, and it's brilliant that you are doing all of that. Keep it up, but it's really important to make sure you're creating those relationships with influencers. So, and I'm really glad you are not looking at buying followers. No one should buy followers. It absolutely could ruin your page, your profile. So please don't do that. But I think it's not enough anymore to just post more often. And as we talked about, it's about getting people to engage. It's giving them a reason to engage. It's using things. It's being smarter about how we get people to action that post. So offering things like lead magnets, like we talked about, a guide, giving them a reason to reach out to you. And then I think really creating those collaborations with influencers are key. That's going to get you out there much faster. That's going to grow your following much faster by working with some of those key influencers. So yeah, but I know it's a tough world out there. And a few years ago it was so much easier to get followers and reach and engagement. So we've got to really kind of use some of these other methods now.
Yeah, great, makes sense. Great. And the next question from Helen too: is it the responsibility of an SMM specialist to generate sales on social media?
I know, and this is, I'm in lots of different groups with social media managers, and I don't think so. I think a lot of clients, and it is an issue, I think a lot of clients come to social media managers and say, I expect you to generate all of these different sales, but it's actually part of our duty is to educate as well. So as a social media manager or strategist, what you can do is create great content. You can create a relevant community. You can drive people to their website. But it's really not our job to generate sales. Our job is to generate that community, those followers, and drive people to something like websites or a Facebook shop or an Instagram shop. And I also really believe, and even though I love social media and everything about it, and I think it's extremely powerful, I also really believe that you can't only rely on social media. You've got to really look at kind of other, and that's, looking at networking opportunities, trade shows, events. You've got to really be kind of reaching out in lots of different ways and using a whole kind of, the whole media marketing mix as well. So social media is one part of that, but I don't think you can rely on it solely either as a business.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you. Okay, and the last question in the chat, and good question to wrap up. From Kalsam: how can I initiate? I suppose it's about what to start with.
Yeah.
Something.
So, okay, that's a great question. If I'm understanding that correctly, yeah. So if it's how do I start? And a lot of people will come to me and say, oh my gosh, do I need a website and a logo? And do I need all of that to start my business? And the answer is no. So, just get out there. The social media platforms are free. So, I think always start with a little bit of audience research, and that could just be, maybe talking to clients that you already have, or maybe it's talking to, going to networking events and understanding kind of what platforms they're on, and then just start, put up a page. Even if you can't really afford to have, a logo right now, don't worry about it. Just get out there, start conversations, start to put up some things, and then I think you'll learn a lot as well as you go. So again, it's about testing out which platforms do well, what content does well, and then learning as you go. And then as you kind of evolve and whatnot, then you can start to look at spending more money and investing in things like websites and logos and more kind of evolved marketing. But I think actually social media is a great place to kind of test out ideas and find your people and learn from them and let them be part of that journey.
Okay, thank you very much, Kelsom. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm sorry if I don't. Um, okay, thank you, and thank you from Helen. Thank you, Katie, very much. And it looks we've addressed all the questions in the chat. And as we near the end of our session, is there anything you'd like to add or emphasize before that?
No, just it would be lovely to connect with everybody. And if you have any other further questions, feel free to DM me on any of the social media platforms or email me. I'd love to connect. And thank you so much, Lena, for giving this opportunity. It's been great. I've loved spending the afternoon with you.
Oh, thank you. I like it. The webinar is great, tips great. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable tips and insights, your tips, your answers to our attendees today. Guys, be sure to connect with Katie on LinkedIn, on other social media, to follow SendPulse on social media to stay connected. Once again, a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. Your participation means a lot to us. Stay tuned to our social media for updates on future webinars and events. We'd love to have you join us again. Thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. Goodbye and take care.
No, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.